Hey everybody, this is Gordon, your host for the Get Stuff Done podcast, back with you for another episode as we do every week. And today, having already interviewed more than 10 different guests, I wanted to take a quick moment to reflect on the fantastic topics that we have been able to cover in the last 10 plus episodes. So the Get Stuff Done podcast is really about trying to share insights from people who know how to get stuff done, have been getting stuff done, and their own personal techniques and tips for doing that, whether that is in the context of leadership, self-leadership, or of course in global management, or even just in a personal way in the work life that we lead in and outside of our careers. And I'm sure you'll agree that the diversity of guests has been very good so far. I've been pleasantly surprised with the insights that have come out, and I wanted to share just a few of those with you today. So I'm going to go through one by one in relatively quick fire the main takeaways that I've had from each of my guests' episodes so far on the Get Stuff Done podcast. Once again, thank you everyone for listening. Let's get started. So my first guest that I had from outside of RDI was Naia Jang. And in that episode, we learned about the journey that you can go on when you fail and you need to restart. And one of the key things that I took away from Naia and the conversation I had with her is that you shouldn't give up. And even if you fail the first time or even multiple times, there is always a way to reinvent yourself. And I would go so far as to say that Naia did that reinvention in a very special way. She actually went, so to speak, up the supply chain, the value stream of the startup ecosystem, and was able, and is still in what she does, to be able to provide value to other startups, which is something that is incredibly necessary to help startups along the way. And so she shared with us how it was not easy to get back up again and to restart, but she had that courage, she had that ability to do that, and now she's thriving. I've just recently seen her over in America at CES convention, so I wish her all the best. The next guest I had was Joe Tofield from LinguaLearn, based in Singapore. And Joe really had a very unique story about his early career, where he went into something that he had no previous background in, and something that he really felt he was not well trained for, or at least not prepared for. And in fact, he found it very difficult, but he stuck at it. He brought out resilience that enabled him to get through that particular challenge and overcome. And now years later, he sees how working overseas in that challenging environment, in something that was not natural for him, was very rewarding and was a step along the way in his journey to be able to be the accomplished businessman that he now is. And that was quite inspirational, especially to be doing that in a foreign country where everything was new to him. Next, in the episode, I interviewed Travis Bennett, who is currently the COO at Do a Circle. And he also told us about the multiple stages of his career, being in lots of different roles, and how that really affected him as in regards to being a good role model for his children. He actually told us about how, as a family where both parents are working, how they are able to balance that, and how over the years since they've had children, that they have at times made compromises for one or for the other in order to make sure that both can be successful and also satisfied in their work. And that's, I think, maybe one of the unique moments that came out through the podcast so far, is this matter of compromise, which is very important if we're working with people. And over the long run, making compromises can very much win the support of your network and those around you. After that, I had the pleasure of interviewing Sandra, Benson. based in the US and an accomplished executive in the construction industry. She has forged a path as a female executive in a non-typical industry. And she had some really practical advice for us. And if you didn't get a chance to catch it, I suggest go back and give it another listen, because she had some really practical advice around how to, keep yourself productive, not get distractions. But I think the main message for me that she gave was about the leadership of others. She explained how she has a tailored approach to each person that she manages, and that allows her to be more effective as a leader. By understanding her direct reports better and at a deeper level, she can be able to manage them better in order to appeal to their motivations, to make sure that expectations are aligned, and overall this has clearly led to a phenomenal amount of success for her. Next, I talked to Stephen Park, the co-founder of Asian Boss. Now, Stephen was an interesting guest because he was telling us about his mission-driven company that he is leading, that he has been on a mission, so to speak, for the last 10 years with Asian Boss to provide an alternative voice with regards to issues in Asia. And he also shared with us about how it has not been easy. At times there have been immense challenges, times when he wanted to give up. And really the takeaway message that he gave to me, or that I took from him, is the importance of why. He spoke about, he mentioned Simon Sinek, of course, knowing your why. But more importantly, knowing your own why is also sharing that why with the others in your organization. If you are able to communicate clearly the why of the organization, whether that's a team, a department, a division, a branch, or an entire subsidiary, or even company, then you can instill and inspire much greater performance from everybody. Because at the times when things are tough, when people are doing maybe tasks that they do not necessarily enjoy as much as others, if they have a clear why, they will be able to sustain. It develops a certain grit and resilience that allows you to sustain what you're doing over a longer time. And that's definitely something that I have tried to do with my company over the last 7-8 years, although I probably could do a lot more in that way as well. After Stephen, we talked with Ashwin. Ashwin has really been a complete, amazing example of how to set up a business, identify a problem, go to market, and then keep iterating it, and even moving on to even better versions through the experience of identifying a problem that came up in the first business. It's all been possible for him through a very thorough tech-driven approach. He is somebody who is continuously testing new tools, continuously sharing new products and software that he has come across, that is being developed, is coming out, and is being launched, and that allows him to be able to be cutting edge and be able to beat the competition. And that's clear from his track record in a relatively short space of time since COVID, to be able to set up a business, grow it, sell it, move on to a second, which is also now thriving and growing incredibly fast. So another great example of getting stuff done. After that, I had the pleasure of talking with Pankaj Agarwal, the CEO and founder of TagHive, an edutech company. And I think for that conversation, a lot of people told me they enjoyed how Pankaj sets his mindset. He has a very high level of mental control in his daily, weekly, monthly schedule. And I think that has allowed him, through finding the right balance of mental control, to be able to get to accomplish so much in such a short space of time. And it's absolutely fantastic. He's clearly found his own personal sweet spot in how to operate at an incredibly effective, efficient level. and he keeps doing it. So if you want to hear those personal techniques, definitely give that one a listen. Then I had the chance to talk with Leo from Lufthansa. He is somebody who has worked all over the world in multiple different countries, multiple different parts of his major international company. And as a leader for so long, he has had a front seat at how to manage people in different cultures. And that's something that I think is the takeaway for me from that episode. He has a cultural empathy that he brings to each situation. He understands that what works in one country does not work in another, and that agility is what has allowed him to be a successful C-level for so long and continue to be so. So a big respect to Leo for developing that element of his leadership toolkit. And then a few weeks ago, I had the chance to chat with Charles Ferguson, regional APAC leader for Globalization Partners. And Charles really had clearly thought very clearly and specifically about leadership, about personal management, about effectiveness, and if you like, getting stuff done. We talked about the acronyms that we have, GSD, get stuff done, and also one of the acronyms that he has developed as himself, which is PEACE. That was passion, empowerment, authenticity, celebration, and engagement. To be peace. And that is his kind of playbook for ensuring that he is an effective leader. And he communicates that very clearly with the people he manages in order that they are on the same page with the expectations that he has. And that was really meaningful. I honestly ran out of time talking with Charles. I think we could have talked for a lot longer. And the last episode, just last week, with Nicola Weir, partner at Deloitte here in Seoul, who also gave us some really great insights about her personal leadership style. She mentioned 4 things: empathy, the power of network, the 80-20, meaning that we should strive for quality but not always necessarily perfection, and finally trust, the trust in others to get stuff done. You can't do everything yourself. And I think those 4 key elements of her leadership style that she explained were very meaningful for me, and I fully agree. And so with all that being said, there are some very diverse opinions and stories that have been shared, but also some commonalities. I think one of the clear themes that has come out over the last episodes since we started the podcast is that empathy is really on the top of the agenda for being an effective leader. And empathy can be a little bit overused. It's maybe a word that has already adopted a bit of a buzzword kind of status, but it really is meaningful. Whether that's situational leadership, whether that's a cultural empathy, or it's really just engaging with people on a personal level to actually know the people you're working with a little bit better than just who you see sitting at a computer in front of you. That can go a long way to understand them. And it's definitely something that I adopt in my work when I am interviewing candidates on behalf of my clients. Then I want to understand what motivates them. What is it that they are looking for in their job, in their career? What would be some of the absolute must-haves that they want when it comes to a new role or a new position, and the priority of those? And that's always some of the key questions that I ask to try to understand even people that I haven't met, directly face to face. But I use that as much as possible in the work that I do. So with that, I would like to wrap up this short summary. I thought it would, since we've been running the podcast for a couple of months, just to give a quick summary, takeaway of the previous episodes and the wonderful guests that I've had a chance to speak to. I have now Also a great range of new guests lined up in the coming weeks. We're going to be going into the Lunar New Year next week. With a holiday here, but we'll still be putting out an episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, I would be eternally grateful if you did so, whatever platform you're listening. Thank you so much, and all the best in getting stuff done.